It's time for a pickup truck range test. On this side, we have a Ford F-150 Lightning Platinum, and on this side, we have the Rivian R1T. The EPA range on each of these trucks is pretty similar. This one, 314 miles, the Lightning, 320 miles. However, if you go to the fueleconomy.gov website and you type in highway only miles, so you set the percentage of stopping of traffic to 0, then the Rivian actually beats the Lightning by 10 miles. And that makes a lot of sense because the F-150 is of course a full-size pickup truck and the Rivian is a little bit more mid-sized depending on the dimensions you're talking about. First things first, we have to charge them all the way up to 100%. The F-150 Lightning did that overnight. The Rivian over here, it needs to DC fast charge, which is why we're at an EVgo station right now. It is at 99%. We're gonna get it all the way up to 100% so we can make this test as fair as possible. Now, full disclosure, the Lightning drove from my office to this charging station after it was fully charged. So right now it will not let me top it up because it thinks it's too full. But I did have 3 miles on the odometer in order to get here, so we're just gonna add that to the tally at the end. While we wait for the Rivian to charge, I have to say that fortuitously, the F-150 already had a pretty handy feature that is not exclusive to the electric version. You can fold down this center armrest as a work table because the shifter descends into the dashboard there or into the center console, giving you this work area between the two front seats. It's not the most ergonomic position to have your body rotated 45 degrees, but you can certainly work on laptops, smartphones, things like that much more easily in here than you can really in any other EV out there. And this is something that's not just exclusive again to the electric F-150, you'll find it in most of the models. The halfway point of this trip would be 123 miles. We're near that halfway point, so let's just do a situation update on the Lightning and on the Rivian. Let's see what the cars think, or the trucks rather think, as far as what kind of range we have left. Over here in the Lightning, it says we have 147 miles of range on the instrument cluster. If I go over here to the map, we have 128 miles left to drive. Ooh, that is a little close. Trip average here, 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour. This one actually tells us where the energy has gone, something that I wish the Rivian would do. So 2% for cooling the battery. It is 77 out here. 3% to accessories, the majority to driving, and interestingly, only 1% to climate control. Now let's check out the Rivian. Back over here on the Rivian, it has decided to turn itself off, as the Rivian is wont to do. So let's go ahead and hop in, see what happens. You can see that it is much more efficient, 2.48 miles per kilowatt hour. That's about 25% more efficient than the Ford. So if we go ahead and start it here, and then go over to the energy screen so we can see what kind of range it thinks we have left, 203 miles left. You can see right there on a full charge, 326, 203 miles. If we were to put it in all-purpose mode where it would be using twice the number of motors as the Ford, that would drop down to 188, but still pretty darn good. So let's just continue the trip and see how this goes. All right, now that we're back, let's see how it went. Remember, this Lightning over here is rated for 320 miles of EPA range. Let's go ahead and see what it did. The route actually is 249 miles since we started that DC fast charge station, so a little bit further than originally indicated. One thing we noticed, the odometer on both of these vehicles is a little bit off. So this one says 239 miles, not 249, so it's off by about 10 miles there. But you can see that it has consumed almost the entire battery. If I go over here, it says the car only has 12 miles of range left. And if I go over to the charging screen to go ahead and take a look at that battery percentage, it says 6% battery. This result puts the real-world range of the Lightning right around 250 to 251 miles of range. Let's go ahead and see what happened with the Rivian. Obviously, the Rivian has decided to go ahead and lock itself. That's not a problem since I have my phone in my pocket. So let's go ahead and see here. Open says me. Come on. It's time to open. One problem with some of these vehicles. Doesn't always want to do that even when I have the phone with me. So let's go ahead and see here. The Rivian went exactly the same route and it says 67 miles left. And if I take a look at the efficiency numbers here, let's go ahead and pop this up. Again, this is a little bit off, but it's a little bit closer to reality. 2.46 miles per kilowatt hour. That is significantly more efficient than the Lightning. It's about 25% more efficient than the Lightning right over there. And the previous time that I did this test, I ended up with 2.6 or so miles per kilowatt hour. Speeds are a little bit different, of course. Traffic was different, etc. And it was a lot hotter today, so the air conditioning was being used more, so it was more efficient that last cycle around. Any way you slice it, the Rivian is significantly more efficient. That result puts the Rivian over here at 313 miles of real-world range. According to EPA, this should be just 293 approximately, so definitely less than that. 314 miles is the combined EPA score, so even on highway driving, this matched that EPA highway score. And this Ford Lightning right here, well, it honestly fell quite short. I wasn't that surprised though, because the Lightning is just not as aerodynamic. This is a much bigger vehicle, it's much broader, there's less of a focus on aerodynamics in terms of the underbody, and of course we have that separate cab and box arrangement back there, and it's just a bigger vehicle overall. What I absolutely did not expect was that the Rivian's fuel economy is so much higher than the Lightning's. I really didn't expect it to be as pronounced as it really is. It's about 25 to 35% more efficient depending on the mode that you're in. I should also mention that on this trip, the Rivian was not set to its absolute lowest setting in terms of the suspension height. That obviously decreases efficiency. It could have been even more efficient in that situation. Bottom line, if you're buying a new pickup truck and the most important thing to you is electric vehicle range, then you should absolutely buy the Rivian, not the Ford Lightning. The Lightning is definitely not going to get you as far on a charge, and it's worth noting, it's also going to charge a little bit slower.